Matt Coleman from Comedy.com. Right.
This is great. Thanks for having me here. This is fantastic.
Oh, no, we appreciate you coming. So tell us what Comedy.com is first, Matt.
Comedy.com is a one-stop shop. It's kind of like your 7-Eleven, your Pink Dot. We gather the funniest stuff from around the web. We're out there scouring the web on an hourly basis, finding the hottest, funniest clips so that you don't have to go around the web and search 20,000 websites. There was a comic that I was laughing at, a joke the other night. He's like, has anybody gotten through the internet yet? Because it's obviously huge and enormous. So we do the work for you, and we also create original content. And we also push our content everywhere, like I know that you guys do. We're on Facebook. We have a presence there. We're on Twitter. We get our stuff, stumble upon and dig, and we're really trying to go to where the fish are too as well, and push our content out there. But Comedy.com as a hub is where it's at. And I actually set up Comedy.com/The Young Turks. Comedy.com/The Young Turks. I put a lot of great content on there. We're roasting the movie Twilight today. I also did some great political posts for you that I hope you enjoy.
All right, so I'm going to check out comedy.com/The Young Turks. But so let's talk about how you pick and who your original content is. First, curious about the original content. How do you find? What do you have them do?
We actually have over 50 freelance writers that pitch us on a daily basis. So we sit in the editorial meetings and we'll go through stories, much like probably you guys do, on what to talk about for the show. And, a lot of stuff rises to the top. There's some interesting ideas that come through that we kind of kill on the spot. And I think one of the big things that we've realized is authenticity is what resonates with the user. We'll get a lot of posts that feel fake, and we kind of, kill them immediately because users smell that and they see right through it.
So let me understand how that works. And for you guys, I should let you know that Matt's background is he worked with the HBO Lab, the Hollywood Improv. He booked the Hollywood Improv, so he knows good comedy when he sees it. Among many other things that he did before he came to Comedy.com. So do they pitch you, hey, look, this is the thing we did, it's already on the web, or do they pitch you an idea and then you fund it? Yeah,
it's kind of like the pitch is basically the idea. So they'll come up with an idea, and we might tweak it. So somebody had come up with an idea about, they wanted to go try to eat for free for a week. In these tough times, can somebody actually
we got a story on that, too, later.
And eat for free for a week.
Yeah.
So we actually told the guy, you know what, try to live off $5 for the week.
That's funny. The story we're going to do later in the show, a woman lives off of $4 a day.
We should check it out. But it's interesting. I mean, we're trying to speak to the people and do original content built around
she's not doing it for comedy. She's just really cheap.
Well, we actually paid this guy to live off $5. So actually,
there's a little bit of irony there. Do you pay him $5 a day or no?
I can't disclose our prices because then everybody's going to be calling us, say, I'll live off, but then it's really like...
Right, but already people are going to be calling you because you're saying you're going to pay people for comedy on Comedy.com.
That's true.
Which is good. You want more content, right?
That's true. We do.
And so then, for the guys who are picking it, how many people on your staff?
There's about 4 of us in these editorial meetings with, all the cans of Diet Coke, and we have snacks, and we're looking for a sponsor. By the way, if you guys want to sponsor with snacks.
All right. I like
See that right into the camera?
Yeah, all throwing that out there. I like that. So then you 4 guys, you scour the web. You go through YouTube, you go through whatever else.
Hourly, daily,
And then like if you see something funny, you're like, oh, dude, you got to check this out.
Absolutely.
That's it? That's the process?
Yeah, and we put it up on Comedy.com. So again, you don't have to, when you have 20 minutes during your day or your 5 minutes during the day or whatever it is, that's where the brand name comes in. Comedy.com, you check it out. We do all the work for you guys.
So I want to show one of the videos you guys have up. So I went and checked it out, of course, right? So one of the things you have is top 10 Darth Vader singing.
Very huge. Darth Vader's huge on the internet, obviously. Star Wars, huge on the internet. And, it's also gathering it up into these, kind of bite-sized chunks, these 10 videos. And so that you can
So you guys didn't produce this one. You found it and are featuring it.
Correct.
All right. So let's check out one of the videos on Comedy.com here.
Let me look on you with my own eyes.
Darth Vader always creeps me out, like the real Darth Vader. When you find out it's that old dude underneath, he doesn't look as scary. And he looks like, hey, dude.
This was like the craziest moment growing up when you finally saw Darth Vader revealed.
I know. But I always thought, like, hey, I mean, a little plastic surgery. I'm not asking for Joan Rivers.
He was very white, I think. I think that there was a little bit more color, but you have to remember, he's been in that suit forever.
That's true.
That's like when you're in the bath for so long and you start to prune.
How do you get a tan? Yeah. All right, this is serious, though. Here we go.
Let's bring it down.
I like how he puts it back on like, I got no interest in that.
I'm done.
All right. You know, I liked one of the comments beneath that video, too, on your side. I always knew it was a harmonica.
Well, it's a perfect example. You know, a lot of people, you guys are very busy. I walked in, it's a high-stress time. You're not going to know where to go to find it. And then hopefully you not only enjoy that video, but you're going to check out a couple more videos, at least on the site or within that list itself. And that's the problem as well, is you could go find one funny video, but then what? You know, your navigation path through YouTube or wherever you are, you know, it's tough. You might waste time. So we're doing you guys a favor by not wasting your time.
All right, you know what? Let's do a little controversial issue here, Matt.
I like it. Let's do it.
Okay. We're talking to Matt Coleman from comedy.com. So earlier in the week, we're talking about David Letterman and his comedy writers. And then there was a woman who wrote, Nell Scovell, on Infinity Fair, Letterman and Me. She never had an affair with him, but she actually had more to complain about how it's so hard for female comedy writers to get hired because it's an all-guys atmosphere, et cetera. One, first, do you see the same issue in comedy, or are there women everywhere?
There are women everywhere. I mean, I think with her article, what was interesting is the stats. I mean, who knows? I assume that these are, you know, accurate. Is that there's only been 7 women writers in the history of David Letterman, which goes back, you know, 15 years or whatever it is. I mean, I think that it's tough to be the person to come out and speak before something happens, and now it opens up a couple of avenues for people to come out and mention what was really going on behind the scenes. Because if she were to do that before, who is she and why is she talking about it? Nobody's going to pay attention to her.
Right.
And I think Letterman was really smart by bringing it to the surface. You know.
All right, but let's keep it real. Okay. Now you hired for Hollywood Improv, among other places.
Absolutely.
What percentage were women? What percentage were men? Roughly, obviously.
Well, I think what's interesting is when I booked the shows, I booked it so that I had a woman on the show. You know, I had a black comic, I had a Latino comic. So, you know, when I at least book shows, I tried to make sure that you were getting that variety. Because when you come to see a show, you know, you want to see that variety.
Now, but among the people you were
You think I'm lying? You think I'm lying?
No, not at all. But I think I think a lot of women in the audience would think, oh, a woman comic, shouldn't it be 50%, right? Now, look, I don't think that.
Okay,
I don't think that.
50-50, I feel you.
Right.
I feel you.
Now,
but there's not, in terms of how many comics are working today.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
So how about the supply? Like
80-20? Maybe 70-30? I think it's also very tough, you know, they always say for female comics because, you know, the life of a comic's on the road. You're staying with other comics. You know, you're staying in condos that are not great. So, you know, a woman comic staying with, you know, a guy comic versus 2 guy comics staying in the same condo, you know, a lot of difference, and you know, they have to go out on the road, and I think.
And if you go on the road, then you got to stay with like Margaret Cho or something, or that
God
crazy
forbid.
lady. What was her? Poundstone? What was her
Paula
name?
Poundstone.
Paula Poundstone. Then you got other issues. Okay, so and then on comedy.com, of the people who submit to you guys, what percentage do you think are guys, and which percentage are girls?
You know what? It's actually 60-40. I mean, we
oh,
don't,
really? So
well,
that's tighter. That's
well,
closer.
if you think about it, you know, we go out to, we're looking for great content. You know,
Right.
we don't care, you know, where it comes from. We're going out to everybody, and plus, you know, through my relationships, I'm going out to these comics who I've known through the past, who I've booked, and there's a lot of female comics. You know, one, Sarah Tiana, a comedian who's been on Reno 911 a lot. She's a great touring comic. Check her out at sarahtiana.com. Little plug for her.
All right.
She was a full-time editor for us. We just had another girl, I think it was Julia Lillis, who just found John Gosselin's application to Starbucks.
Oh, really?
Which
Oh,
is
that's
which is
funny.
on the site today.
Okay, that's real?
John Gosselin's application to
Yeah.
Starbucks? It's debatable.
Okay.
We found Gaddafi's day planner.
Oh, that's got to be real.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I mean, 100%.
all right, I just want to make sure. All right, and finally, let me ask you a funny question, if you will. But I'm asking you seriously. What percentage of the people who think they're funny, and obviously I'm asking you your opinion here, and are actually funny?
Well, you know, it's funny because you hear these stories about how these professional, successful comedians got their start, and it was like, oh, I was at the club with my buddies, and they dared me to go on stage, and now I make $20 million. You know, it's a craft just like anything else. I don't think you can learn to be funny, but you know, it takes dedication, and it takes 120%. You need to commit to it, and there's a lot of people that do it, and it's really tough. But you know, class clowns, you know, doesn't necessarily translate to the stage. But there's so many different avenues to be funny now. You know, before the traditional approach was you had to move to LA or New York, you were doing stand-up, and you had to have a point of view. Tim Allen, Roseanne, Drew Carey. And then you would get a development deal, and they would find out you can't act. And, you know, that happened a lot with stand-ups. Or you'd have these big hits. And that's what happened back really, you know, in the 80s into the 90s. And
so what's happening now?
The reverse. I mean, the internet has leveled the playing field. You know, there are so many great content providers and producers, and if you think about it, they all had to come from somewhere. You know, Colbert was Second City, and Tina Fey was Second City. They all came, you know, from either Chicago or Detroit or wherever.
Are you telling me Colbert is fake?
What do you mean?
Because I mean, I thought he was a real conservative doing a real show. No?
Oh, Stephen Colbert?
Yeah.
They're like two people.
Oh, I see.
It's two people.
Okay.
But they all come from somewhere. Will Ferrell came from somewhere, so
did
they're
you
out
see
there.
that poll of like a significant number of conservatives really believe Stephen Colbert is a conservative?
That's not. I don't even believe that.
It's hard to believe, right? But we have.
Are you joking?
No, I'm serious.
What's
Tom
wrong?
DeLay actually.
What's wrong with this world?
Tom DeLay put up an interview with Stephen Colbert and Robert Greenwald on his website because he thought Colbert was real and was grilling Greenwald.
Really?
I mean, they're incredibly.
What do you think it is? Seriously.
And, okay, you know what? Let me ask you that question though. What percentage of comics are liberal versus conservative?
That's a really interesting question. I think that they're successful comedians. I think are on the liberal end of things because I think they live in Hollywood, despite the fact that you think they might be a Republican because they're in the higher tax bracket.
That's true.
But, you know, so I think it's interesting. But, yeah, in terms of successful comedians, I think it's interesting when you see, you know, when they come to town, when Bush comes to town versus, you know, Obama, the Democrat versus Republican, and who's hosting the parties. Is it David Geffen? Is it Spielberg? And it's interesting to see kind of the party lines when you see the VIP lists to those. But
so there are a couple of conservative comics, but not many.
There are. They don't show their faces because why would you? That would be.
All right, but you know it's tough because like Fox News tries to do comedy every once in a while, and you're like, oh no, please stop, please stop.
Fox News. Now we're talking Bill O'Reilly, right? Now I won't show my age. Bill O'Reilly is Inside Edition, to me. Now, he used to host Inside Edition.
That's right.
I don't know if people know Inside Edition, but it's like the TMZ of the 1990s.
That's right. Yeah.
Him and Deborah Norville used to kick it, and now he's this.
I mean, he's a joke in and of itself.
Yeah, well, he has a mug. Somebody at my work has one of his mugs. I got to be honest.
An O'Reilly mug. Yeah. Okay. Well.
I know.
But you know, we have Young Turks mugs, so it's okay. All right. So, you know, to finish that earlier conversation real quick, because I'm totally interested in that. So before, if you wanted to get a new guy on Saturday Night Live, or you wanted to find a new comic who was going to be a sitcom star or whatever, you'd go to Second City in Chicago, or you'd go to clubs in New York, L.A. So now, what do they do? Do they just like do the executives at TV or whatever?
Lauren Michaels?
Lauren Michaels, thank you. Just sit on YouTube and try to find people?
On some level, yeah. I mean, I think that they're still coming to L.A. and New York. You know, Upright Citizens Brigade has cast 4 out of the past 6 people who made Saturday Night Live. Kristen Wiig. You know, that was one of the best things to ever hit comedy in Los Angeles was Upright Citizens Brigade. They were based out of New York. Amy Poehler, you know, who's on Parks and Recreation. She founded it with Matt Besser.
Oh, she founded it. I didn't even know that.
She founded it with a guy named Matt Besser. Matt Walsh and Ian Roberts, and that's been huge. So it's a huge breeding ground, but what's happened is a lot of these agents and managers now are finding talent who don't live out here through the internet. There's Angela Johnson. She is on a smaller scale. She had a 2-minute bit about nails, and it got 7 million hits on the internet. And you know, she was living up in Northern California or whatever, just happened to be. And all of a sudden, you know, somebody takes notice of that. They sign her in management, and she was cast on Mad TV, and now she's in movies, and she's selling out, you know, comedy clubs. So it's really interesting. There's a lot of sketch groups that you know that are found online now and signing development deals with NBC. Jeff Dunham. I don't know if you know Jeff Dunham. He's a ventriloquist. I used to work with Jeff. He just had his show just premiered on Comedy Central.
With a ventriloquist.
Oh yeah,
with a dummy and everything.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
You never heard of this guy?
No.
He's enormous. My Orthodox Jewish cousins in New York, they're like, you know who we like? I was like, who? They're like, Jeff Dunham. But he is blown up because of the internet.
He's huge on the bar mitzvah circuit?
I'm telling you, this guy made $30 million last year.
Uh-huh. Okay, wait a minute. Now you got my attention.
He's in the top 10. Talking Jerry Seinfeld. He's the hottest comedian right now.
And they found him through the internet?
Well,
no.
Jeff has been touring for 15 years.
Okay.
And he's been doing comedy clubs and selling out for 15 years. He continued to be doing that, but he probably has 100 million hits on YouTube, and people have discovered him, and he has become amazing sensation in Comedy Central. Look at that.
Yeah.
These guys are on top of it. And that's the power of the internet. And, you know, there's something for everybody out there. And it's a really interesting space. And I think that, you know, we were talking before, is what's really interesting is engaging with the users like you do. I mean, I think it's amazing, 150 million views that you guys just got on YouTube. And the MSNBC campaign, I think was amazing because what happened was, you know, your users trust you. And, you know, it's built around passion points. And the same thing that's comedy. Comedy's built around passion and shared experiences. And, you know, if you engage with them, it's the authenticity that's really working online. And that's what we're finding with comedy. And that's what I know you guys are finding what works. And I think that's what's wrong with politics, is that these people are acting like somebody that they're not. Blagojevich and Spitzer, you know, these are real people, real flawed people, and they're acting like somebody else.
They're all fake. Everybody's
and that's
fake.
what it is.
That's the
it's
problem.
all fake. And what works with us on comedy.com, and I know what works with you guys, is it's a trusted source. You know, we engage with our users. We're real people, and that's what we're trying to do on comedy.com is reach out, engage with our user, because we're just like them. You know, we want to find funny stuff, and, you know, we're trying to help them out.
This was a really interesting conversation. I learned a lot from it, and I'll tell you, comedy is fascinating, man. That's a real way to get rich. Okay, I mean, it's really, really, really hard. Very, very
really, really hard.
Right, but damn, man, if you're successful, you're getting $30 million. Geez, and Lord mercy.
He's also been touring for 20 years.
No, I hear you. You got to put your dues. I mean, I don't want people to get the misimpression, oh, you know, I just put up a couple of things on YouTube, and next thing you know, I got $30 million.
But that's what's been happening a lot with YouTube, is that it's a level playing field. You've got people on YouTube that are using right here with their MacBook, with the camera, and they're uploading videos, and they have, you know, there's a guy named Fred. He's a 14-year-old kid out of Nebraska.
I'm familiar with Fred, yeah.
He's got 500,000 to 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
It's insanity, yeah.
And it's all about subscribers, but it's a trust.
But by the way, I think TV executives are crazy. I mean, yeah, you talk about they're looking at YouTube trying to find things. They should do it a lot quicker. I mean, if I'm a TV executive, look, I look at Fred, and he's not my demo, right? So he's a young kid.
He's not your demo, that's for sure.
He does a weird, whiny voice. I'm not at all interested, right? But the flip side is, if I'm a TV executive, I'm not stupid. Look at all the people he's got in. I'd sign him in a second.
Well, it's built-in promotion. You know,
and besides which, you're guaranteed all the people who watch him on YouTube would obviously watch him on TV, almost obviously, right? So, you know what the problem there was? Okay, I'm liking this conversation too much. Okay.
I like it.
Right, is that they tried one show from online on TV. I forget what
Hershkovitz and
what was it called? My So-Called Life? No.
that was the early one. There was also another one on Comedy Central that just aired called Secret Girlfriend.
They tried, I don't know about Secret Girlfriend, but they tried that one like a couple of years ago.
I can't remember the name.
And 30-something? I don't know. Anyway, it's
something like that.
Yeah, anyway. So they tried that one thing, and it didn't work, right? And that was at a time where TV's
Not only did it work, though, it didn't even register.
Right. So then they freaked out, and they're like, oh, online's bullshit. Okay? And then all TV executives were like, okay, note to self, never sign anything online. Right? But that was now like years ago.
Yeah.
Right? If I tell you, they're crazy, man.
It's going to take
I just pick
now.
off the top of the YouTube guys. I mean, like Sexy Phil's another huge guy.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. You like, you don't like, who cares? Put it on TV, see if it works.
It's built-in promotion.
And especially the cable channels.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you doing? And how much are they going to cost? Fred can't cost that much. You know, grab him and try him. What are you, crazy?
Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, he might yell, why are you grabbing me? But that's a whole other thing.
That was a pretty good impression.
That wasn't even a Fred. But
I have to tell you, I was working on my Rush Limbaugh impression this morning. I was really going to try to do it, so maybe I could come back and do it. But I kind of have the word folks down. Folks. That was awful, wasn't it?
No, you should hear my.
This guy comes out here to talk about her.
It sounded like John Madden. I think Rush Limbaugh and John Madden.
Hey,
that was awful.
The Young Turks today saw the Barack Obama.
He kind of gets very like low, and then he gets very excited.
Barack Obama today is talking about the Young Turks are crazy.
He does.
Is that awful? That was
no, but then
awful?
you have to
That's pretty
repeat and
bad.
repeat, which is what he always does. All right, comedy.com, everybody, and apparently comedy.com/The Young Turks. I'm going to check it out, too.
Check it out. We got some great content on there. We have congressman or serial killer. You guess. There's different quotes there. We have some great political posts as well.
All right.
And this has been great. I really appreciate you.
All right, man.
having
Thanks
me
for
on.
coming on,
It's a
man. We
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Thanks,
All right.
Jake.
Well, we'll come right back. Young Turks.